It's Netric.
Netric. So
Yeah.
they've got some weird bug, and I'm pretty sure that that's what production are trying to fix right here. We're literally at the other side of the globe to where the actual production desk is taking place. They're way smarter people than me, so they know what they're doing. But supposedly, they're not going to get his name going. They should have probably gotten to reconnect. Oh, I'm like backseat adminning right now. 5-0. AGF, dream start. Let's see if they can continue that into the secondary gun round here on their T side. Inferno T-sided at the best of times. Wanting that to continue, of course, if you're a fan of this Danish squad. That should be a fairly decent nade there. You see that it just slams onto Patrick, doing 30 damage. Might not seem like a lot if you're maybe even new to Counter-Strike, but time after time, that actually has fairly heavy effect. It puts him, well, in contention of only a couple of body shots instead of maybe 3 or 4 needed. I just love this from AGF. Gathering up outside this A bomb site once again, looking to burst the crossfire. It's Netric to open things up, and the defense has already been swept away. And a Fate roster who seemed confident coming into this series gets shaken and broken early, and a very tricky retake to get the job done.
The 3 versus 3 that they are going to go for as they start to walk up short. AGF, the perfect post plants for this, and as Cristo behind them with this Deagle, he spots out Hahn and he nails him. That's the first, and he's going for more, lands himself another. Frostlev the last to clean things up. And AGF actually take the secondary buy round. They now go 6-0 up. This is such a dominant start from this Danish side.
Yeah, and what do you necessarily do if you're Fate? They've already taken a short pause. They didn't really come up with any solutions. Forced back onto a suboptimal buy here in number 7. It's likely just going to be a 7-0 clean sweep to start. And AGF have almost taken half the rounds needed to close this entire first map out already, and we're barely 5 minutes in. Let's see if Fate can get a couple on the board. They didn't really come up with any solutions. The Bulgarians map pick, so I don't think they're going to be sub-overwhelming buy here in number 7. It's likely right now, but it's always nice to get off to a good start in a grand final, especially. And Fate, I don't know if it could even be nerves coming into this. You never really know. I don't like digging into a team's mindset, especially this early into a series.
They're not taking any chances in round number 7, playing this one very disciplined. Waiting for some kind of aggression, any kind of stupid peeks, but as lucky, got some good timing here. Does find the first onto Mars, spots out Blocker, but the trade does come in. Actually a 4 versus 4 now, and Blocker's retrieved himself a decent rifle to work with as he peeks from the apartment, spams away, actually finds the frag. A man advantage now for Fate to work with. As Hahn finds himself another, Cristo gets taken out, but they're trading evenly. It leaves TMB last alive in a 1 versus 2. The bomb to retrieve as he's creeping around this short corner. Might actually find the first onto Blocker, spams away, does some damage onto Patrick. But for now, it stays even. 1 versus 1. Patrick down to 74. And TMB continuing to stay on this angle, but he can't quite convert it. Patrick picks up the first round for Team Fate. And a round that they really shouldn't have been able to get away with. And he manages to pick up an AWP just at the end as well to bring into round number 8.
So remember, all things considered, Inferno, especially at this level, is a slightly T-sided map. I'd be expecting AGF to take the lion's share of the rounds starting off. 6-1 is a little bit harsh. Nevertheless, lots of opportunities for Fate. This map is far from over. It's barely even started. AWP in the hands of Hahn. He's been such an influential player all the tournament. It'd be a shame to see some of the heavy hitters of Fate go quiet here in the grand final. And wow, Hahn, he opens things through and even finds 2. He's between a rock and a hard place there, but Fate trade more than evenly. A 3 versus 2 scenario, bomb dropped on the ground, and the smoke there to create a counterbalance. And the Molotov as well. This is great right now. Frostlev just about gets away with his life. That's some flawless play, but how are they going to be able to hold A? I'm not really sure. Headshots like that certainly opens things up. As Patrick hits the deck. And they're able to sweep it away just like that. AGF, what is going on right now?
That is fantastic from them to bounce right back the other way after losing that round. Keep your composure. And come back into it. Fate, they do have money to buy into this one, but well, a couple of players just down to the SMGs. Blocker with no utility whatsoever. Mar down to the FAMAS. It's not the best of buys, but they are just against the AKs on the AGF side, but it doesn't matter. Netric opens up the first frag onto Hahn, who has been doing a huge amount of work for the Fate side. So with him gone, the AWP down, it's certainly going to be a detriment to this CT side. Fate right now, they've taken an early man. They've taken 54 points of damage onto Patrick. AGF start to regroup, head over towards the A brackets. There's 2 players waiting over there on that side of the map for them, but they've been given free long control, and with that, well, they can do whatever they want at this point.
Gives them so much maneuverability. And with the SMG at least chipping into the first, and Patrick starting to step up, there's a chance. And well, Fate shut it down from all angles. That's their second, but many more needed before this one can come to fruition. They've got a deficit of 5 on this CT side, and well, it's time to shine if they're going to make the mini comeback occur on the first half here in the first map of their day. AWP still in play, of course. That gets thrown over to Hahn. 4 of these rifles are premium, with only the FAMAS being the one maybe edgy buy on the Fate side. 5 AKs for AGF, of course, so no sniper rifle presence. But they'll be feeling massively decent about this one.
They've still got somewhat of an advantage with this buy. Hahn, of course, with the AWP, but other than that, AGF plenty to work with. That nade comes into CT. Smoke goes up as well. That nade's done so much damage onto Patrick. Already sitting on 30 as TMB charges in, finds that first frag on the boosted up player. And that's the issue that you face when you invest all of your B players on CT. As soon as that smoke goes up, you have absolutely no chance unless that boosted player does the work. And Hahn with this AWP can find himself one back, but still the man disadvantage. And this B site, not going to be the easiest one to retake, especially with this utility up. And there's more for them to work with. In fact, they're just going to go for a very early save call.
You're absolutely on the money there. The Fate CT B defense really just looked completely caught out of tilter. As soon as those smokes go through, they've got no visual onto that B bomb site. There's nothing really that can be done at all. And they're forced to save towards the A bomb site right now. It's going to be an 8th on the board for AGF. Fate really struggling to get any sort of decent defensive half posted. Becomes a real issue when you can't chain together rounds on that CT side. It means your money is going to be in ruins, even on max loss bonus. It's hard to get full investments through. Nikki already having to pick up an MP9 instead of any favorable rifle. They'll be able to purchase buys at least, but really that's only a consolation prize right now. They need to start hitting the shots and winning the round, and maybe Hahn can be the catalyst to propel them into this one.
He's certainly been doing the work so far, even though he's only 8 to 9. When you've only got 2 rounds on the board, that's a huge number to be putting up, especially with this AWP finding those opening picks round after round. He's done the same in this one. AGF now still just taking this slow control towards mid as they have been, and Fate, even though it didn't end up being a problem for them the last time they gave it up, they've given up this long control again, and this means that they can work somewhat of a flank round to B, and so far Fate are completely oblivious to it, but Netric needs to not get caught out by this MP9 of Nikki, and as that happens, That's the cue for Patrick to spin around, and he should be able to deal with these players in the back lines.
Simple stuff to start. Only 3 rounds, though. Fate still at a deficit and in need of a lot more. I always feel a little bit awkward talking about the balance on a lot of these maps, especially in a big matchup like this. Obviously, both of these teams are going to be feeling at least a little bit of pressure coming into this one. You really do just want to get off to a good start, keep that lead, but really, that seldom happens in Counter-Strike. It's often a very, very scrappy battle, especially in matches like this. With 4 AKs in hand, though, and the AGF economy finally broken, this should be a very routine round for Fate to take over the top. You see the Molotovs just holding the Danes at an arm's length of this A-bomb site. They cannot get in before they dissipate, and the rotate's already through. 4 CTs towards this side of the map. Very easy stuff to eliminate 3, and now 4 of those Ts. The Pistols don't really do all too much here. 2 kills, that's kind of the compromise, the handshake. Now 4 to 8.
I think AGF would have been expecting a whole lot more than that. Best case scenario, maybe they end up getting a bomb plant there off the back of those 2 kills, but not going to happen for them today. And the full eco has expired. They're now into round number 13. 5 AKs, full utility brought up to try and contest this Fate side. Credit where credit's due. Fate have been doing really well at taking this banana control, something that they struggled with earlier on in the half. And that's really been what's led them to start to pull this one back. But a fantastic flash, Lucky, able to swing out, takes out Han, brings things back into a 4-on-4. Instantly traded by Blocker though, but as the flash goes up, he is forced to fall right back, and Frostlev finds himself one more. Molotov goes in the back of the site, actually doing a huge amount of damage. Blocker does fall. Christo finds one more, and this is all said and done. Patrick last alive, able to find one, but still a 2 versus 1 as he's locked out the site. And the nade finishes him off. Perfect grenade from Frostlev. That actually gets him his 2nd of the round.
It looks all too easy for AGF right now. They're finding all of these opening picks. They're capitalizing really nicely onto not just A, but B. Both bomb sites seem completely up for grabs. Fate's rotates have been a little bit slow and flimsy, and AGF seem to be reading them actually pretty damn well right now. Even playing with just this standard 5 AK setup, they seem very comfortable and confident. They're finding all of the initial preliminary damage. The best CT scoreline Fate can now salvage is only 6. And it's going to be opening frags like that from Han to actually do the damage and force them back into this one. You see the AGF, they're just not wavering whatsoever. As soon as that kill comes through, they're right on the back of this. This time it doesn't work out, and Fate should be able to take number 5. But it's still a deficit, and Netric is still roaming. He's going to try and plant this bomb. Only 1 shot through the smoke. And, well, he's starting to hit the headshots. Han right through the clouds, able to take him away. And Fate, a fortunate 5th.
Big 4K from Han there to secure that round, but Netric in that scenario really took away a lot more than he should have. Shouldn't have been able to get that bomb plant down. Shouldn't have been able to find himself 2 frags either. That was quite smart to shoot the smoke over to Han. I like that. Love to see those little plays at the end of the round. But yeah, Fate, they do put themselves on to 5. And something I want to see Fate stop doing, and even though it didn't really cost them in that round, it has cost them in the previous rounds. You've talked about, in the previous matches, this kind of red zone on that banana corner that as a CT, you just don't really want to be standing there, yeah? You can go there early on, throw some nades, but then you want to try and reposition, because that area always gets nade stacked by the HEs, by the Molotovs. And it seems that round after round, that's what Fate are doing. And Patrick, he's not even seen anyone, and he's already taken out. And in previous rounds, he gets hindered early on by this nade damage. A 2-man disadvantage early on for Fate. And AGF, well, they haven't even fired off too many shots. They've just used their utility perfectly, and that's Nikki. Down to 60. The rotation's coming in, but AGF are already flooding this B-bomb site.
exceptionally close to dialing in their 10th round right now. Double digits on this T side. I'm pretty sure this Cristo corner is just not going to get checked by Fate. He's in just such a compromising angle where I'm really sure that the Bulgarians are just going to get torn apart here in the retake, especially with the flank fully in place from Lucky. Although he's been spotted, he's slowing this retake down to an absolute halt and even eliminating Han right there. Ma, no real opportunity to get this one done. A couple of these Ts are nice and low on HP, but without that bomb being defused, well, there's nothing that he can do. And a couple of consolation frags to finish. He's not even going to tap that bomb and get the job done. It's, well, a completely finished half. 10-5 for AGF. They're going to be feeling absolutely fine about that one. A pistol round should really put them over the top here on Inferno. Remember that Fate don't have the worst T-side on Inferno in the world, so there's every opportunity that they are able to take this one back. But it starts with the pistol round. There are so many different, well, thresholds that they have to pass to bring this one into acceptable territory. They just haven't had a good enough CT side. You see, Nicky really didn't show up for this one. Only 4 frags for him. Whereas everybody from AGF up above double digits. Look how consistent those kills have been for all 5 of them. 11 kills on 4 players. Netric on 10. That's exactly what you want.
It really is. And on the Fate side, I mean, if you look at Ma, you don't want to be in a situation where on round number 15, when the bomb's beeping away too fast, you actually double your frags. That 4K he got in the final round, where everyone from AGF were just pushing him because they knew they'd won the round, actually took his kills from 4 to 8. And a clinical headshot from TMB takes out Han early on. Actually goes for another one. Can't quite connect it onto Patrick, but it gives them that man advantage. And AGF right now in a good position to take this pistol round, and if they do so, Fate might even have to start looking onto Overpass and have to make sure they mentally reset for it. They're not down and out yet, though. Heading over towards B, that smoke is going to make it all the more difficult, but they're just going to charge right through it.
Oh, well, these kills incredibly successfully found, and that's a pivotal frag from Cristo. With Blocker gone, it isolates this defense into a 3v3 scenario. And Fate, they have got this double stack through, and the Glocks up close and personal usually just shreds through faces. There is the first. Lucky needs both of these kills right now. There's the first and the second. Leaves Ma all on his lonesome. He gets eliminated. AGF, what a retake there on the B bomb site. That defuse, there's plenty of time. That's 11 rounds on the board. What a retake on that B bomb site.
That was really an exceptional retake there from AGF, and really came down to those 2 kills from Lucky. They needed to come out on top in that 2 versus 2 engagement. He lost his teammate early on. Of course, he was only 20 HP, but the Glock headshot came in anyway, so it didn't really make a huge amount of difference. But for him to come out on top, land those 2 headshots, bring it into a 2-on-1, really, really important round for AGF to win. They do come out on top with it. And now 5 in a row they need to close this one out. Fate haven't fully invested into this. They did get the bomb plant, so they can buy some pistols in Kevlar. Stay around that 1500 mark. Should have enough to buy into the next. I don't see anyone here that will have the money for an AWP right now, though, so it should just be the rifles, unless they can somehow come out on top in this one.
This seems like a done deal, especially with the MP9. This should just shred through these Ts. The pistol comes out from TMB. It's headshot after headshot to finish off most of that aggression. And, well, Nicky's only got an MP9 to work with right here. This is just about as good as it gets for AGF. Even as this bomb, well, attempts to go down, they force Nicky off that plant. It's a headshot and he still plants it. That's actually quite ballsy there. I almost admire that. Just the balls on this man to continue holding it through. Of course, he's never going to win the round. The jackpot is getting that C4 down. A little bit of bonus cash for the Fate pockets. This is where really things start to matter. The opening gun round of this half. No force buys for Fate, of course. It'll be all AKs here in round number 18.
This is really a must-win round for them if they want to keep Inferno competitive. And even if they do win it, they've still got their work cut out for them. AGF now, a 7-round lead. And as they come into this buy round, AGF haven't really gone for much of a bonus here. A couple of players on the FAMASs, but other than that, rifles all round, 3 M4s, utility on everyone. This is going to be a difficult one to break, especially with currently all 5 CTs over towards the A site. This is a really ballsy play from AGF. In fact, no, there is one on B. Oh, it's because I can't see him on the minimap. Right, 4 players over towards the A site. Still, a ballsy stack that it's looking like Fate might just fall for.
It's a little bit weird, isn't it? It's very disconcerting when you look at the defense and it is Netric. That's a really weird bug. I've never seen that. In just thousands of hours of casting, I've never, ever noticed this bug in my life. That's actually a little bit insane. I really do hope they get it fixed. Obviously, it means that we can't see what sort of map control Netric's holding towards the other side of the map. I think if it was an easy fix, they'd be right on it. Maybe Netric just has to reconnect to the server. Well, this will be a 2-2 stack. And what can Fate really do right now? Wherever they walk, they're going to be facing an equal number of CTs, and it all comes down to the initial gunfights. And with 30 seconds left, that Molotov, they're forced right into it. If Patrick can find a second opening kill onto Frostlev, maybe there's an opportunity here. But no, Frostlev holds it down. Still a 1v2 scenario, this time Vahan. And well, that Molotov will allow him to get into a better after plant, but here Netric, he holds down the spray. He's just so consistent. That's why they put him on the Bianca, by the way. You can always trust him to come in with 1-2 quick kills and obviously go for the retake on the A-bomb site when needed. 12-5, now 13-5 as AGF extend that lead. Wow, this is very one-sided.
Fate looking like they're going to buy up into this one as well, which means they're going to have very little utility to work with. No, in fact, okay, this is a weird buy. Mard, no cash left in the bank, and everyone else is brought down to 1,500. So they'll be able to buy into the next. He won't unless he saves. This is getting a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, so funnily enough, this is something that Fate really like to go for. If they plant the bomb, because of the max loss bonus built on top of that extra plant bonus, Mar will actually be able to get a full buy into the next. It's very weird and awkward at best, but it gives them a slightly higher chance of winning this one. If they can't get the bomb down, it's a complete rollover. There's every opportunity that, well, he is the only player without a weapon in the next, and that's not a massive disadvantage. It'll probably be an SMG or a Galil anyway. Remember that you get $3,400 with it, but with that C4 down, that at least guarantees the investment, and it's save time for AGF. They don't want to throw away these rifles. If you look at their bank, they can't afford to. This repurchase over in round number 20 coming up will be, well, possible at least, with Netric and Frostlev. $3,700 between them. TMB can actually drop over a rifle as well, so Cristo and Lucky, they might have to go begging for a rifle, but they will get one.
Ended up being a nice round from Fate. One of those ones that they definitely had the potential of winning with the investment, but they didn't go all in. So it's always nice to win something like that when you've got some MAC-10s, couple of pistols, and you still come out on top. Of course, though, still a 7-round gap to close. AGF 3 away from closing this one out, 2 away from securing the overtime, which is, I'd say, almost a worst-case scenario for them at this point. The full investment's in. Netric, actually, funnily enough, down to an MP9, despite the fact that he was one of the players with the AKs saved last round. So he's actually dropped that over to someone else, sacrificed himself, and oh my goodness, TMB in mid-air lands the headshot onto Blocker. I mean, that is just pure luck, but you always love to see it.
What the hell was that? He was flying through the sky as he pulled the trigger, and somehow it's a one-tap? Unbelievable. Feels like it's just not Fate's map. They're about to walk into a stack right now. There are actually 3 players over on that B-bomb site. For one further opportunity, they're going to walk into the blender, and well, AGF decide to get aggressive. That might be ill-advised. Nevertheless, Christo, he hits the shot. There's also an MP9 here on B, so the opportunity for this to get shut away, and the smoke grenade's horrible. Christo can snipe right through. Han finally takes him away, and now a 2 versus 2 that Fate must win right now. That C4, it can go down and away. The nade sails in and doesn't connect. Fate will have to backtrack just to the very rear of this bomb site. Neither HE connecting, but those headshots certainly do. Lucky, phenomenally done. It's going to be 14-6 on the board. And Fate, they're in a massively deep hole. AGF looking to close out map 1 in incredibly dominant fashion.
Just as Fate started to find form in that last round, it gets stripped away from them. They have got the money to invest into this one. Actually got the money as well to put the AWP on Han. But this is now to contest your opponent's match point. This is really dangerous stuff for Fate. I think even they'll be surprised that they're in this situation. I think they would have been expecting to win this map, and let alone that, certainly wouldn't be expecting to be 14-6 down in it. Right now they need to start changing something up. Playing this really slow default, 2 players over towards the apartments. 3 down at Banana again though. AGF playing 4 players in brackets. The B anchor. It might pay off for them. Might at the very least get them these 2 opening kills on Tamara and Blocker if they do choose to commit. But for now, the bomb is actually heading over towards B.
Of course, it is only Netric, our ghost, upon the B bomb site. TMB, he's going to go for the initial rotation as well, taking, well, at least CT spawn control. Christo with the AWP towards this side of the map as well. Fate are playing this one incredibly slowly. And of course, AGF don't want to keep just an MP9 towards this side of the map. The flower pot boost now in progress, one of the most overlooked positions in the whole of Counter-Strike. And well, let's see if Fate make the key mistake. Patrick's going to be the first man in, and well, it's an instant execution to start off the defense. Perfectly done. The wraparound to the A bomb site, and AGF are actually fairly outpositioned here. They have to hit quite a few lovely shots, and well, it's lucky to provide. Decently done. This one, again, a shutdown. 15-6. And Fate just haven't shown up to this one. Really unfortunate. Obviously, they have Overpass and Train coming up next. This was a must-win map for AGF. If they were going to have a decent shot at this series, Inferno is a map that they're certainly looking for as well. So, Overpass, one that AGF aren't as confident on. Obviously, if we see this massive firepower deficit again, then it's just going to be a 2-0 in AGF. Let's crown them now, but, well, still much more Counter-Strike to be played.
Oh, so much damage done early on with these nades. The Molotov finds 3. What on earth is this? Frostlevich just got a 3k with a single Molotov. This is not going well for Fate at all. AGF, as you say, this was a must-win map. They've actually turned up and just finessed it. They have done it with style. And in this last round, unless Han and Nikki can do something magical, it's looking like this is going to be a very dominant showing from AGF.
Someone chuck a Fate on the Barbie. 3 toast alive as AGF set the whole grand final alight in map number 1, with Overpass coming next. If they keep up this pace, they'll be crowned the champions of the CSGO Fast Cup 5. We'll see you right here in about 5 minutes for the second map of this grand final. Don't go anywhere.
ऐसे ही और भी वीडियोस के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो और बेल आइकन को दबाना बिल्कुल मत भूलना।
Good timing there displayed by Arjun Tendulkar. A lower full toss and it was very slow. First Tendulkar on 13, Khan on 20. Again he steps forward and makes a room for the off drive. Played in the V with the straight bat. Arjun trying to score runs on the offside, takes a single. 20 lefty is going to bowl to Arjun Tendulkar, who is also lefty. Arjun also bowled very well in the previous game. Just blocking it easily. They say that you should watch the bowler's hand when the ball is released to judge the ball. Few people judge it off the pitch, few people judge it off the hands. Arjun stepping forward, wanted to go for a big shot, but very well fielded by Gurindaran's follow through. 29. Went past mid-on for single, and now they are trying to go for the 2. Enjoying the conditions. Wrecked the spin well, and that was a long off for Arjun Tendulkar to give it a smash, and umpire Vaibhav Dokre declares boundary. Score 35. Arjun Tendulkar on 13 of 9 deliveries. It's a power play, and Arjun Tendulkar, the moment ball went past the circle, 4 runs were written on it. 4 boundaries and 1 6. We are into third over. Tendulkar on 13, Khan on 20. Again he steps forward and makes a room for the off drive. Played in the V with the straight bounder. So Arjun Tendulkar on strike. He is on 15, 4 overs 41. Gurinder to start his second over. Almost to the knee height, and Arjun Tendulkar very clinically pulls that ball, and Vaibhav Dokre, the umpire, declares 4 runs. Fabulous timing. Plan of promoting Arjun Tendulkar up the order has certainly yielded rich dividends for D.Y. Patil B. He has played his shots without any fear. 19 runs of 12 balls, and has supported his partner Aman Khan in terms of running between the wicket as well. So whatever good work was done of the last over of Abhinav Bali, there is a boundary on the very first ball, and the pressure now is on CAG. And Bali himself goes to defense. Single.
Easy now, no worries.
Nudged it, and 50 runs on the board. First over. Last over of power play. First delivery driven nicely by Arjun Tendulkar. Stopping it by diving, and score. Cross batted shot angled towards long on. Arjun Tendulkar this time
We lost our minds in the darkness of night. We live to die. We lose our souls every day. We lost our minds. We don't remember what's wrong and what's right. What's right. The world is dead, but we stay. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die. Surrounded by the night, we live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon light.
Welcome back, everybody. Still grand final time here at the CSGO Fast Cup 5. And we're heading over to Overpass for our second map of this series. Interesting stuff here. Fate on the back foot, but, well, Patrick Blocker starting us off strong in this initial pistol round to get us into the action. And, well, this could be just a complete rollover in the pistol. 4 fast frags. AGF caught on the back foot. As Fate just tear on through. Should be an easy bomb plant and a first round for them.
Done really well to find this A bomb site in this initial round. And TMB last alive here. Tapping away. His position is known. He shouldn't be allowed to stay alive for much longer. He is the man with the kit, so, I mean, there's something there, I suppose, but as Nicky comes up to the right, nothing more he can do. Nice headshot from him to close things out. and Fate put their first round on the board. Something that they really struggled to do in Inferno. I think they took 6 total. And they weren't having fun on that map. Hopefully they've come into Overpass. They've had a few minutes to mentally reset, to talk about what went wrong. And then, well, in fact, I don't even think it's worth talking about what went wrong. I think it's more just, it's their map pick. They were just exceptional on it. Let's go into Overpass. We're comfortable with it. And let's just dominate.
It's really hard to shake a team like Fate's confidence, especially in a series like this where they've beaten AGF before 2-0. We heard it right out of the lips of Panico yesterday, live on air. They are feeling confident coming into this. Up against the Deagles, they want to crush the Pistols and get to an early 2-0 right here on Overpass. Let's see if they can do that, especially against, well, the stack towards the A bomb site. With the C4 up towards A long, it feels very far invested and engaged. They need to now hit their headshots. And while Froslev falling first, they still have to walk into these deadly Deagles. TMB lucky, both finding opening picks. Now, a little bit of stage fright for Fate as they do claw 2 back. And now Netric being the only issue in this clutch scenario. If he can hit the headshot onto Blocker, there would have been every opportunity. But 2-0, Fate nicely close it out. And AGF are going to have to do it the hard way. They'll wait in this one. No investment in round number 3. We'll see the rifles come out next.
The investment doesn't quite pay off for them. But they do find themselves 3 kills, and that means that Fate having to reinvest into this one haven't got a huge amount to work with. It is bizarre to see Blocker down to this Mac 10. He does have the money in the bank to buy up an AK, but, well, they should know that they're against the Pistols right now, and it might just be an opportunity for him to farm these frags. He only needs to find 2 to pay off that Mac 10 purchase. As the flashes go into B, it's looking like that's where they're headed. The bomb has been left behind. They want to clear this site before they aggress into it and risk losing the bomb to the Pistols. They now know what they're up against. They should just be able to swarm this one. For now, actually playing it quite slow, though.
I think they're just cautious about walking into a stack. They know that the Danes like to just hide and burrow themselves inside these bomb sites. We saw it on A with the Deagles just a couple of moments ago. They don't want to fall in the same fashion, especially when they've got these rifles in hand. You don't want to drop any of these AKs in round number 3. It should be easy pickings, though, with only 1 Mac 10 dropping. Fate have really nicely dealt with this setup. They've already taken the whole of the A bomb site as well. So a simple round for the Bulgarians. They'll get the C4 down and away, and you'll likely just see this Mac 10 leading the charge on the hunt. It's Han. He'll be likely trying to find the bulk of this damage. Tap away another. That's a single AK dropped. Remember, it's fairly limited investment. An AK only costs $2,700, and although it's not ideal to drop these rifles, you're going to be feeling at least half decent about it. That is when things start to get a little more difficult, as an AK actually stolen away by TMB. 3-0 regardless.
To what looked like a lost cause, or why is he peeking that?
Doesn't seem to make much sense whatsoever. A little bit of confusion thrown into the mix. 3-0. Still an okay start from Fate. Obviously, a lot of reinvestment needed right now as we go into the first rifle round.
Not saving that AK. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. They are able to just buy up nonetheless. 3 M4s. An AUG unlucky, something we don't see all too often nowadays. And an AWP on Christo. Fate so far, taking some connector control. It will be gifted to them for free as they've actually already pushed up toilets. So if anyone was in connector, they probably would know by now. Frostlev up close with this smoke down as well. Could be very dangerous here, but if he gets too close to it, there'll be the danger of not being able to be traded. As Netric pushes right through Monster, though, that's so much info gained. He can then relay that to his teammates, but it's all too late. Christo's already been taken down from the back as Mar finds him. The man advantage now for Fate as they start to head over towards this A site. But look at Frostlev's positioning here. He could go huge if timing works out for him.
He's burrowed right inside this pack, and it's, well, the first kill and gets traded quite quickly. Able to take 2 before he goes down, and AGF, off the back of all of that information, they're able to negotiate their way into position. And there's their first. Opening gun round successful. That's a box ticked. They've got they've got a lot more hurdles to jump, though, before they can not just close this gap, but get to an acceptable scoreline on this CT side. Remember, this is Fate's map pick as well, so the pressure not well and truly applied. But with Train coming next, how confident can AGF realistically be? I'm not really sure. This is where this series starts to get harder, and some question marks are certainly thrown into the mix.
If AGF do manage to pull this one off, we could be crowning a champion a lot sooner than we would have thought. Going into round number 5. Fate just with the pistols to work with, an AK on Han. They will have money to buy into the next, but I quite like this setup. Nicky the one to throw the flash, all 4 players coming in from short as they flood this bomb site. They take a little longer than expected to take out TMB, but they find it nonetheless. Even trading for now. As Blocker just about comes out on top, a 3-on-2, make that a 2-on-1 as Han finds Frostlev. And it leaves Christo a 2 versus 1 to clutch up. Timing works out in Han's favour, and Fate somehow come out on top in a round where they only really had the P250s to work with, but the strat was perfect, the flash was perfect, and everything really just worked out in their favour.
Very awkward round right there. Fate, as you said, were stuck on only pistols. I think there was 1 rifle thrown into the mix as well. That was off of the impact that AGF actually had in round number 3, if we're jumping back. A really successful eco for them. They were able to lower and lessen the money, but not take advantage after they win that first CT round. That should be the freebie at that point. And a B split, just a standard B rush. Really? Is that how they're going to instantly lose this one?
Let's see if AGF can give their opponents a taste of their own medicine. Lucky opens things up with a nice deagle shot. Is traded by Patrick. Some more damage dealt though. Patrick down to 30. They are going to fall back off of this one. A 4 versus 4 now. No guns retrievable for now for AGF, but they might be able to go grab that AK as Fate falling right back over towards B. The rotations are already coming in. AGF somewhat prepared for this one, but they need to land these headshots. Well, that didn't go to plan, did it? All of them get completely wiped out. Fate keep 4 alive. Put their 5th round on the board now as we go into round number 7.
Fairly simple stuff, all things considered. Fate giving AGF the Danish treatment here on Overpass. We saw it just a few moments ago, reversed, a mirror image on Inferno, but now going through onto the second map of the day, a completely different storyline. Fate making this grand final at least competitive. They're a map down, and exactly when they have to pull a couple of tricks out of their sleeve, pull a rabbit out of the hat, and right now they're doing that absolutely successfully. Remember, we've only seen 1 full rifle round from AGF, and it's already round number 7. That's how kind of flustered this and just blustery this CT economy often is. It's really hard to get a number of full buy rounds completely in order. Fate, they are just kind of holding all over this map right now. They don't have any coverage towards the A-bomb site. And I think they kind of need to hurry up. If AGF start to prompt any aggressive positions into place, this becomes more difficult, but the untree frags found, and AGF, the defense is absolutely falling. Mar, he had a slow start on Inferno, but quickening things up here in the second map of the day. A couple of speedy frags on the B bomb site. AGF not holding things up, and now a chance in the retake.
Real bold piece of aggression from Patrick to open up this B site, but now it's a 2-on-2. Christo has no idea where these final two players are, and it means that he really has to expose himself to try and find them as the bomb continues to beep away. Time is of the essence, and Blocker gets the timing perfectly, lines them both up. And Fate take their 6th, showing no signs of slowing down right now. They are looking really, really strong on their own map pick of Overpass.
Incredible confidence coming through for Fate, forcing, well, not just a 6-1 start, but now a tactical pause from AGF. The Danes don't have much money to work with here on round number 8. I think it will just be the half buy with a couple of deagles picked up. We'll very unlikely see a force here with rifles and, well, a FAMAS here and there and SMGs. I'd really like to see AGF just bite the bullet, allow Fate to get 7-1, still with a little bit of equity in this 8th. If they do decide to pick up Deagle and Kevlar here and there, should still be a nice convincing start from the Bulgarians. Overpass is kind of one of these maps as well where it's obviously CT-sided, but with play on both sides, if Fate can get 9 or 10, and that is just way too much, and AGF absolutely know that, but still with opportunities right now to get back into this one. Remember, Fate were in exactly the same position just half an hour or so ago on Inferno. So now applying the pressure, they're going to be feeling a lot better about this scenario. Their stars are starting to shine. Blocker, who's been one of the MVPs of this tournament, 11 kills early here on Overpass. And, well, let's see if that continues as we get into the meat of this map.
Just down to the pistols again, AGF. It really feels like we haven't seen a lot of a CT side from them. Every single round, they're just unable to contest that early control. They lose men, and Fate just swarm these bomb sites and take over. They've gone for the B site gamble. It's not paid off for them at all. However, they've realized it soon enough that they can actually start rotating over towards A, and they will have somewhat of an A stack here by the time Fate creep their way up long. A huge firepower advantage for them, though, so they should still be able to win these aim duels unless Netric does something huge with this Deagle. On the angle right now, the smoke goes over. They come into this site. Mars the one to open things up with the first frag. Gets himself a second as well. Netric does find 2 with the Deagle, though. Make that 3. They might be able to hold this one up as TMB's found one with the USP and AK's been retrieved. The bomb's down. This has gone horribly wrong for Fate, and it's all down to Blocker to pick up the pieces.
With the C4 out in firm AGF territory, this should be an easy hold-up for the Danes. They've got somewhat of a crossfire established. TMB is going to be the initial prod. Netric actually isn't holding the same angle as well, so his Blocker hits the opening headshot. He needs to scurry and try and find this final CT. He has no idea where Netric's holding from, and he's just not guessing this one whatsoever. A back turn towards toilets, and the Deagle tries to chip and chime him away. Blocker, how does he survive? Tries to tap this bomb into the ground. He's running out of time. He needs to take this peak now, and runs out the clock. He does find the kill, but it's too little too late. That's AGF up to 2. That was definitely a pressure scenario there with an uncharacteristic mistake made by who usually is a really solidly fundamental player.
A round that was almost certainly theirs, very nearly slipped away from them. AGF do come out on top, though. Very smart to not peek off of that fake bomb plant. Good prediction, and it does put them on to 2. Fate now, though. Need to make sure that they don't allow this to be a turning point for AGF where they start to pull back these rounds. They need to keep the aggression up like they have done so far this half, and they need to try and continue to take this half by the reins. Blocker, he's been doing a huge amount of work so far, sitting 13-3 right now. Really instrumental part of this Fate T side. He's been the one finding these early picks, opening things up. Let's see if that can continue, because if he starts to drop off, there's no one else really on the Fate side that's pulling those kind of numbers.
No, there's still an opportunity to claw the way back into this one. 2-6. It's not all over yet. Lots more Counter-Strike to be played here on Overpass. Let's see if Fate can continue bombarding these rounds on the board. Especially as AGF start to switch it up, resorting things into the double AWP setup. Feels like Fate, though, are finding all of these openings. They're putting a tremendous amount of pressure upon this CT side, and it does feel like a couple of these AGF members are missing their shots. Christo, who's usually such a key member, missing 2 towards long. Really can't afford to do that. Oh, Nicky. Oh, he swings in despite just 2 health points. Salvaging that AWP, and well, it's just so much damage dealt. This defense falling apart at every single regard. And now, well, TMB has to do it on his lonesome. This nade's going to have no effect. And maybe if he just delays for Lucky to get into the back lines, there's a chance. And he does swipe another out of the server.
Lucky's position now, no element of surprise, but he actually finds the lineup. Ridiculous stuff from Lucky. And now a 1 versus 1 for TMB. He needs to connect this shot, and it's a routine one for him to find.
What was that? That was absolutely insane from Lucky. He had the positional advantage, maybe even pulled the trigger too quickly on the first. Fate knew exactly where he was, and he's still able to get another 2. Even using the smoke grenade as a fake flash to turn that corner. Really smart stuff there. And it's 6-3 now. AGF, maybe with a couple of chances. We find ourselves in another pause, so a break of pace for both of these teams to just consider exactly where they're at. And I think this is going to be welcome from both of these rosters right now. Fate with a really good start, but now it can all start to fall apart. They need to stabilize and gain a couple more if they're going to have just a great T side. For AGF, there's lots of work to be done, and it needs to start right here, right now. A couple of favorable clutches found, but as I said, they need maybe 7-8 rounds before this half comes to an end, and well, they're just falling out of touch and running out of runway. If Fate take maybe even just 1 or 2 more, it's going to prevent AGF finding even the most satisfactory CT side.
There is a lot more work to be done for AGF, but of course with Fate down to this limited buy, there's a lot of potential for them to pull this one back. If Fate had taken a few more rounds in that early streak, then maybe it wouldn't be as easy for AGF right now. But if they can pull this one back, their opponents are only on 6. They can still have a very good half here. They just have to make sure that they keep up what they've been doing in the past, well, in fact, the past round. Even though it did somewhat come down to luck. Frostlev, though, finds the first, does get traded by Mar. Brings things into a 4-on-4. Connects to control now gained for Fate, but it's something that AGF haven't really been contesting all too often anyway. So, definitely not a stranger to giving up that portion of map control.
Another must-win round for the Danes. They've got the favourable buy here against Fate, but trading evenly early is absolutely what the Bulgarians want to be doing as they start their pursuit onto this B bomb site. It's Netric to try and hold it up, and he's got a real chance of slowing Fate down in a way here. Gets slapped by the grenade, but Rotate already in. That drops the C4 out in the open. And Mar, with only an MP9 in hand, really not too much he can do here, especially, against the longer angles. AK traded, and their headshot nailed. A 1 versus 3 possibility. But AGF are creeping so damn close. How the hell is he going to be able to manage this one? It's a quick headshot. Finished off by TMB. That's the 4th for AGF. All of these rounds look so close. How many 1v1s have we realistically seen this early? And it seems to be AGF finding the majority of them as we get into the middle of this first half.
I was about to say last round that AGF had done a really good job at keeping that AWP and the rifles so that they don't have to reinvest this round because they can't afford to buy an AWP into this one. But then it got stripped away from them and the round ended up coming far too close for comfort. Netric early on getting some aggression in over towards B. He won't spot anything, but that'll be vital info that there's no T's on that side of the map. Might draw a rotation. That's exactly what it's going to do. 2 players stacked up over towards long as well. Could cause problems for this Fate attack if they don't anticipate it. And for now, it's looking like Hahn is doing exactly that. He finds Frostlev. He's not expecting the second, though. But with this man advantage, make it a 2-man advantage now as then on the A bomb site. This is a pretty convincing take for Fate. And Christo is the playmaker here. Needs to do something huge.
Right behind the line, and well, he is good for 2. I don't even know if that's going to be enough right here, especially with Nicky punching in even more headshots. Lucky, he's got so many of these T's to find, and well, that was the easier man to nail away. I love this angle from Nicky to finish things off, and Fate back to winning ways on this T side. Those AKs just chomping up the defense. AGF now really don't have a lot of money to work with, and that's one of the disadvantages of having so many close rounds in 1v1s. Yeah, it allows them to get, well, a couple of rounds on the board. They're up to 4, but as soon as they lose one of these scenarios, Fate are able to break the bite instantly, and AGF have to plump for the pistols here in number 12. This, yeah, really sucks for AGF. It pretty much guarantees that Fate are going to have a great half right here. The AK only trades 1 for 1, so that is a rifle given away.
It's Christo the man with it. No one with the Kevlar, though, and actually no one here to deny the A site take means that Fate will be able to get this bomb down and almost certainly convert this round. The only time you ever really see these pistols come out on top is when they do go for a gamble stack and it pays off. This time, that not being the case, they only managed to find a lone lurker. It's just these USPs trying to get something done. If they can get one more kill, it wouldn't be all too bad. As long as Christo can save that AK, which for now he's being allowed to do. It's a relatively successful round. Mar with this AK, though, able to clean things up. Finds those 2 frags, and Christo on the other side of the map. He's just waiting out the time, and no one on Fate is anywhere near him to take that AK out of his hands. And actually, I don't think they'd really want to. They haven't got a huge amount of money in the bank off of losing the last couple. As they put themselves onto 8 right now. 3 more left of the half. Potential to take it 11-4 if they play their cards right. But if it plays out like the rest of this half has so far, I think we've probably got a relatively close half on our hands. As long as Fate don't do something stupid in these closing rounds.
They seem to be playing fairly fundamentally sound CS. And well, with that initial headshot being knocked through, Fate with a real chance of taking even more here. They'll be 1 away from double digits if they can find this one. I think for the first time this map, Frostlev playing inside connector, maybe just catching off this attack as well, ever so slightly. See, nobody really ready for it. Fate trading, well, quite evenly. Netric, can't finish this one off. With TMB's position known, this bomb needs to just slalom back and maybe just zigzag to the A bomb site. TMB hot on his heels. But Blocker, this is such a good bait. He's backtracking over and their headshot nailed. How smart was that? Blocker is just one of these fundamentally sound CS players who seem to outplay the majority of the opponents he'll be put up against, especially at this sort of tier of CS. 9-4, Fate firmly onto winning ways, and we are being set up right now for just a grand 3-mapper final. I think Train might even just be a little bit closer with actually for both teams. AGF, they decide to force buy here in round number 14. It's almost a must win at this point. They need to just close this one out on the CT side.
The early utility damage, reminiscent of what we saw on Inferno, but this time it doesn't convert them the early frags. Mar as well watching behind, gonna punish TMB for his aggression. It leaves the 2 MP9s on Christo and Frostlev alive. 5 versus 2 situation, nothing really they can do here. They're not actually going to go for this retake. I think they're just going to try and see if they can catch off anyone trying to hunt. See if they can find an exit frag. They might be allowed that. Tan getting up close. Christo does take him out. Might be able to retrieve this AK as well. That smoke grenade going to make it a little easier. But Mar spamming through this wood might actually be able to trade it, and he does.
This half goes from bad to worse for the Danes, as they're about to concede their 10th here on the CT side of Overpass. Frostlev does just about survive at the end of this one. Nothing to celebrate. Only 1 AK-47 carried through for AGF. They will get the buy in the 15th. It's not going to be absolutely ideal. I think we'll still see 4 rifles, 3 of which being premium. TMB just with that FAMAS, obviously lucky an MP9 instead. This just looks like confident, calm Counter-Strike from Fate. They're playing their own game, absolutely not into playing into AGF's hands whatsoever. And look at that from Han. An instant tap to eliminate the defense, and AGF caught completely with their pants down here in round number 15 as well. That's been the telltale sign throughout this whole half. Overpass certainly not being home territory. Very shaky ground for them. And it will need to be just a flawless T side if they're going to have an opportunity. And really, this is just a mirrored map, with Inferno being a very similar setting, just with AGF being the lead instead. And here on Overpass, it feels like it's just fate, fate, fate.
They've certainly woken up and turned up to this map number 2. If this continues, we will be going the distance. All 3 kills that round for Nicky going through that wood. A really nice angle for him to find and capitalize on. But as you say, Fate have just been the better side. So many of these rounds, they've been these high pressure situations, and they've just had that consolidity of thought. They've kept composure, and they've come out on top in these 1 versus 1s, these 2 versus 1s. And the scoreline really shows it. 11-4 right now. The other players on Fate as well are really starting to turn up. Obviously, Blocker sitting 11-6. I think I touched upon the fact he was 13-3, and the rest of his teammates are sort of sitting on 5-6 kills. Now we're seeing him on 18. The rest of his teammates around the sort of 14-15 mark. Everyone pulling their weight right now, and it's really starting to show. AGF, though, looking a lot stronger early on in this pistol round.
Couple of kills and forcing the defense backwards. Nicky only 1 in retort, and this round should really be over at this point. It's Han versus the world as he tries to make this flank happen. He's already been spotted out as well, so the element of surprise down the tubes. And AGF, this should be a 5th round here, as they do close out that secondary pistol round. An absolutely important one to win. Puts them, well, back in this map temporarily. We'll see how Fate decide to play this. You already see Patrick swiping for the Kevlar. And, well, there are the SMGs as well to just top it off here in round number 2.
Fate, of course, still in the driving seat. With 6 rounds to play with, they are going to go for the investment. Try and close this one out sooner. They are against 2 AKs, though. Galil, a couple of Mac 10s. As AGF actually all stacking up over towards middle. Taking this fountain area control. They have actually been gifted quite a lot of leg room by Fate. As they start to go up long, though, they will spot Mar on the corner. He's going to fall right back, but that's a lot of info gained. And as Fate have actually pushed right up B, they've got all the information they need. They know no one's over towards the B site. Players have been spotted over towards long, and this flank can start to come in. That means AGF need to speed things up, and they need to convert these frags.
This is exactly what went wrong for AGF on Inferno. Fate are so good at throwing in these stacks, and well, with the flank found and the MP9 tapping away accurate bullets at long range, this has to be just headshot after headshot here for AGF, but they're about to walk right into the blender. Here come the pistols. Nicky swings out for the first. They are hitting everything right now. The AK's just not getting the job done. Finally, a couple of kills back in AGF's favor, but it's not good enough. Fate already up to 12. They turn the pace of this second half. And without rifles in hand, that should have been AGF's any day of the week. A lack of map control, a lack of headshots, and now a lack of rounds. A 7-round deficit here on Overpass. Feels like we're certainly going to train at this point. Might see that decider. And really, when you look at the bracket, we've seen so many 2-0s in quick series, also very fast maps at times as well. We're finally treated to a barn burner here in the grand final.
Oh, Fate, they weren't going to ease off the pressure for too long. Of course, when AGF win that pistol round, it was a must-win round for them. And after they win it, they'll probably be sitting there pretty happy, thinking they had an opportunity to come back into this one. But no, Fate foot right back on the gas to try and come back into this one. But we're lucky finding 3 fantastic headshots. That was really exceptional from him there. It leaves Patrick in a 2-on-1. If he can close this one out, it would certainly add insult to injury. But as he gets spotted, Christo with the Tech 9 actually comes out on top. And AGF, they trade the round back in their favor. This is shaping up to be quite a close second half so far, as Fate actually looking like they're going to re-force into this one.
You won't see either of these teams give away the economy early. Fate, they're one of these rosters, especially when they're ahead. They'll be throwing in force buys upon force buys, trying to stop AGF from gaining that bank. Big economy. They don't want them to run away with the rounds and actually close this gap up once again. And Fate's go-to tactic here will just be stacking one of these bomb sites. This time it's towards B. I think they need that information though. They need to know where AGF are heading first. Otherwise it is just a pure gamble. And with AGF also fishing for information a lot of the time, I think the Danes are going to guess this one correctly and predict the right bomb site really just most of the time. Ma, he is towards this A bomb site. He's got a scout in hand, but missing that first shot. And well, this one should all be over. I'd really like to just see Fate save all 4 of these sets of Kevlar. I think the chance of that happening is, well, getting slimmer and slimmer.
Quite a rare round that you see from Fate, actually. You see these full stacks when you're on an eco or you haven't invested a whole lot, but this is a full investment from them. And they went for the full B-site gamble stack. It did not pay off for them at all. The save call is coming in like you requested. There's 3 players try and save here. Frostlev picking them off. Blocker's now gone. It's only Nicky and Han. They should be allowed to save this Kevlar. AGF would actually be quite foolish to hunt here. They've done a good job at taking the site, keeping 5 players alive. And if they can retain these rifles, that would definitely be the smart play. It's looking like that's what they're doing, not over-aggressing into this one. AGF will be able to put their 7th on the board and bring the gap within 5 rounds.
Fate have occasionally had a couple of stumbles and fumbles on the CT side. We even saw that yesterday, where they were substantially ahead and then, well, giving away a couple before the end. But the majority of the time, able to close it out, especially on comfortable maps like this. Should be 8-12 here, just against the pistols. As AGF, they are walking into a stack, but realistically, they should be able to dispatch of these USPSs. No real premium pistols in hand either, only the single Deagle in action for the CT side, and while peppering accurate shots right through that smoke. Nevertheless, a 2-for-2 trade, but it's probably not good enough to win the round right here. Those rifles aren't salvageable for Fate. They're going to be unable to, well, get up close and personal. Han, maybe the deadliest of the 5 Fate members. Just punching in a couple of bullets and only really taking a MAC-10 for his troubles. So there is an SMG in hand for Fate here, but it's not an AK. It's not a rifle. It shouldn't be anything to worry about too much. And well, as the solo defender towards the curly letter, let's see what he can do. He's actually got a really nice angle here. I'm not sure if AGF are actually going to be checking this side. And well, he makes quite a bit of noise. Gets naded to oblivion. A little bit of excess damage. Should still be simple stuff.
Can't convert any of the kills through the smoke and does get tagged down, but as Nicky comes in, he has now been spotted. A 3 versus 2 for them to clutch up, and it's looking like they are just going to fall off of this one. Aren't actually going for the exit frags. They know they've got money for the buy in the next. He's not going to be saving this MAC-10. So all he'll really be taking into the next round is Kevlar. Well worth him trying to get an exit frag here as he peeks out. Does get taken down by Netric. Can't do anything in this round, but as you say, Han, really dangerous player for that Fate side. He has proved to us that whilst he is an absolute monster on that AWP, he can do the work with the other rifles too. Very dynamic player. You can put him on anything. You can put him anywhere on any map, and he will absolutely dominate. As we come into round number 21, though, a couple of players actually reaching the 20 kill mark. Mar sitting 20 to 15, Lucky sitting on exactly the same. This is shaping up to be a closer game than the scoreline initially showed. 4 rounds in it now, the bye round from Fate. And if Fate can't close this one out, of course they'll have the loss bonus on their side. But AGF would have closed this gap substantially.
Here we go. Crunch time here for both rosters. Well, Fate can take us up to 13 or 14 here. It'll almost definitely be overpass in their favor. Still chances for this AGF roster, though. They take a little bit of early map control towards the A-bomb site. Also just sitting within B water, just to make sure that Fate aren't doing anything all too overwhelmingly aggressive. Remember, once Fate get that information that there's nobody over towards the B-bomb site, it makes it really easy to go for the rotate, to stack towards the pointy letter. And right now, Fate have to be very careful. They've only got 1 defender. It is Han of all members. Let's see what he can do. He's right behind this attack, and he does steal away 2 players here. The smoke grenade baits him out, and Froslev able to take the swing. It's still even Stevens trading, but the health deficit for AGF, they need to hit some headshots right here, right now, and there's still a crossfire in progress. They know exactly where TMB is holding from. That's the bomb gone. And Froslev and Netric, they need to hit all of these shots. It's just down to the single team member, and Fate up to 13.
They've broken that little bit of momentum that AGF gained. But off of that momentum, they actually built up a substantial bank account. Coming into round number 22, 5 AKs being pulled out. There was the potential for an AWP, but they didn't choose to go for it. Instead, up for all of this utility and actually a couple of players saving money. So if they can't come out on top with this one, they might actually have the money to go into the next. And it's looking like that may be the case as Mar gets aggressive in mid. I thought he was good for 2 there, but whilst he converts the damage, he only gets 1 and gets quickly traded. So a 4 versus 4 maintained for AGF, as they do take that fountain control. Han is left to take care of in toilets as he gets spotted out. Lucky actually whiffs on him, does a lot of damage, finishes him off through the wall though. Man advantage now for AGF to work with as they aggress over towards A, but the bomb's been left behind, so they've not really committed to anything yet. They had to send Netric back to get it.
The only temporary danger man was Patrick and getting aggressive. Now negotiating his way into T-spawn. He's got so much map control here. Allows Fate to put their whole defense on this A-bomb site. The only saving grace here is if Froslev pressures into B right now and calls that it's totally empty and open, there's still a chance for AGF to go for the rotate. But now, are they really just too far committed? There goes the initial swing, and another even trade coming on through. And, well, they hit the headshots anyway. Feels like Fate shouldn't be able to do too much. It's Patrick versus the world. A 1 versus 3 might secure this map in its entirety. He gets nice and close, aggressive play with this M4, but he's still got a pair of headshots to find. And Lucky seems to have all of the information. There's the spray down, converting that final frag. AGF just 1 away from double digits, closing this scoreline gap to just 4.
It seemed in that round that there were 2 scenarios that stick out in my mind for Fate, where they really should have been able to convert 2 kills. Obviously, that early pick from Mar, where the flash goes over, there's 2 guys flashed. Mar just kind of whiffs the spray a little bit and only gets himself 1. And then that one on long as well. The 2 players lined up. The flash is perfect, but somehow TMB trades it instantly with a ridiculous headshot. And that actually means that AGF right now should be able to put themselves onto 10. Fate just on this eco. A couple of players invested in the Kevlar. The rest just down to the B250s. And if they can do so, 13 to 10 isn't too bad, all things considered. They have gambled wrong, though, as they start to walk up long. They are walking into a stack, but they deal with it comfortably. Even trading, though, brings things into a 2-on-2. Froslev in the backlines does take care of Han. It leaves Mar in a very doable 1 versus 1. He does fall back off of it. These pistols have actually done quite well.
The only negating factor is he's unable to grab any of those rifles. So really just has to hug the corners here within the T-toilets. And now try and make this wrap around. He does get spotted and found. 10 to 13 there. So a couple of shakes upon long for AGF, but they do get away with it. And as we approach these last several rounds, economy becomes a massive factor for both squads. Impactful scenarios like that are certainly going to favor Fate. They need to keep the team money low and maybe even force one final eco before this is said and done. AGF changing things up. This is going to be all towards the B bomb site. It feels like the Danes are finding kills left, right, and center. Remember, this map is still up for grabs. And walking right into B one final time, there's just no defense here. Only the single man, it's Patrick. But that'll allow this C4 to go down in a way. Where is the plant for AGF? They're taking their sweet time here. Smoke's down. There are the flashes too. Fate completely locked out. But I need to see this plan right now. Is Fate are just closing in from all angles. Where is this plant?
By not putting the bomb down, it means that Fate can actually get really close for this retake. And there's no time pressure. Christo gets tagged down as well. He's still not punched in the numbers. There was a smoke up on bridge. He could have planted it in that time, but now it's dissipated. He is, of course, wary from all angles, and it leaves him in a 1 versus 3. This was AGF's round for the taking. They walked onto a free bomb site. The smokes were up. All they needed to do was get that bomb down and take the post plant, and they 100% could have won that. Instead, they completely throw it away, allow Fate to get onto 14, and now a very shaky buy in round number 25 for them to try and prevent their opponents from getting to match point. And if they can't pull it off, this is surely Fate's game to close out.
That might be the mistake that ends up costing AGF this second map. They've got to hit some lovely headshots right now to close this one through. And, well, that could have been the first. Nicky able to spray a couple away, salvage that C4 as well. This should be a 15th for Fate all over. And this second map, could round 24 really just be the deciding factor? It's starting to seem so. Blocker with one final shot. Fate, this should be their map pick all over right now. It was, in fact, their pick. but looking touch and go whether they'd actually close it out for a good amount of time at this point. AGF have been clawing back round after round. Very successful T-side, but one mistake. That's got to be so tilting. In a grand final like this, AGF, they've certainly had their chances to close this out in two. And Fate, instead of holding this bomb, I really like this. They turtle back into a defensive setup and say to AGF, hey, Danes, if you want to take this round, you've got to walk into our setup, into our CT side, and that's what's happening. Patrick right behind. This one is so over. 15-10 on the board. Nikki eliminates that final member. Christo hits the deck, and Fate have 5 chances to take us to train.
Whilst they do have 5 chances, I don't think they'll be using them. Now is their best chance to close this one out. AGF, the economy is completely broken. They're just down to the pistols. 3 Deagles, a Tech 9 and a Mac 10 to try and keep them in this map and stop them from going to a third. They head into Connector early on. They will be gifted the control for now. In fact, there is now 1 to contest them. It is Mar that pushes in. Nikki gets the trades though, an actual even trading for now. M4 and an AK retrieve 2, but as Lucky gets taken out, Patrick dives straight in for this one, quickly traded. 20 seconds into this round, we already find ourselves in a 2-on-2, and Christo should get caught out by this orb. If he'd have walked into the toilets, he would have had a free one. But now it leaves TMB last alive, 2 versus 1 to clutch up to keep his team in this, and I don't see this happening.
It feels all over at this point. Fate, they've certainly done it. TMB, he has to walk into this double defense over by the A-bomb site. He does have second options. Nevertheless, I think the rotate from Blocker will be incredibly prompt as Han gets the information here. There's a chance that TMB just plants this bomb and resorts back into a passive setup, but he might just overthink this scenario. He's walking right into the waiting arms, the scope of Han's orb, and he seldom misses. This time, an uncharacteristic whiff that gives TMB a chance. Out in the open, it has to be headshots galore, and it's Blocker instead to close out map number 2. Wow, wow, wee wow. It's going to be Fate forcing us to train next. What an outstanding turnaround. It felt like AGF might be able to take this grand final in a pair of convincing maps, but it wasn't meant to be. We're trailing to train next. See you in 5 minutes for the final map of this tournament.
We are just shadows. It's supposed to be that we die. It doesn't matter if there is no light anymore, no light anymore. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die, and we're surrounded by the night. We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light.
have some form of control still, making our constant binary choices and voicing our equally shallow opinions more loudly or quietly. Most people can't even decide what color to wear or which burger to eat. What does it matter, man? Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion. Most people can't even decide what color to wear or which burger to eat. What the does it matter, man? Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion.
Find your way into this wonderland. Cross the maze, the dark, the innocent. Chase the faith, the thrill, the heaven sent. I got your world upside down. The labyrinth will guide you far away to a place where senses will decay. Your ghost and mind will shadow play. I got your world upside down. Upside down. Find your way into this wonderland. Cross the maze, the dark, the innocent. Chase the faith, the thrill, the heaven sent. I got your world upside down. The labyrinth will guide you far away to a place where senses will decay. Your ghost and mind will shadow play. I got your world upside down. Upside down.
Sometimes I have to keep on breathing in. My lungs are filled with too much pain. All the shadows of the past that I'm so leaving, they held me in my sleepless nights. And I'm drowning in the noise like a free fall. Walking along my path for too long. Save myself from the visions in my mind. Save myself from the war I have to fight. And I can take it all away. All of my dreams are fading. Save myself from the visions in my mind. Save myself.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for one final time. We're into map 3 in these grand finals. Fate and AGF taking it to Train. Incredibly interesting stuff to top off this series, to top off this tournament. Fate, they're going to start on this CT side here, and realistically on Train, that's quite a big advantage, I would say. They get that better side first. If they can amass maybe 9-10 CT rounds, I think they're going to be in real great shape going on to that second side. Still everything to play for, 1-1, one final map to decide our champions here in this tournament.
One of these teams at the end of this match will be walking away with $11,000. And both sides very, very hungry for it. AGF already charging towards this B site. There are 3 CTs waiting for them and they completely mow it down. Han and Ma, that is exceptional. They've completely tapped away there, found all of the kills. Frostlev actually finds 2 back. But Fate put that first round on the board with ease. And what you were saying about them starting on that CT side, well, off of that pistol round, it's certainly done them some favours. And if they can have a good half here, then AGF might struggle to come back into it in the second. But it also can be a blessing in disguise. If you have a bad half on your CT side on Train, it's then so much harder to come back from when you flip over to the attacking. And again, it's actually looking like AGF going for another really fast B-take just with these Glocks. I think they're just trying to get these rounds over and done with. Hope for a bomb plant. It's not going to work out for them at all. Blocker completely shuts it down. Even a team kill comes in and no bomb plant allowed as Ma on the flank charges through the smoke. Nice stuff from Fate. Again, only taking 1 to 2 casualties in these last 2 rounds. So a good opportunity to rake up some money.
A powerful pistol and follow-up to begin things from Fate and to punch in the first couple of rounds on the board. Right now, AK's in hand for AGF for round number 3. A bit of a bonus for Fate as they don't go for an initial bonus investment. Obviously, just getting rifles into the hands of both Ma and Blocker, who had to expend quite a bit of that bank here in the initial gun round of the game. AGF going to be playing this one quite slowly, just edging towards the B bomb site, and it seems to be a repeat performance. They're going to go right in for Blocker once again. That nade doesn't connect too much. Han certainly does. Now the M4 finds 2, and it's a shut away once more on the B bomb site. A finishing frag from Patrick, and 3-0 on the board. AGF have to be really careful that they don't let this snowball out of control.
They do. Quite a bizarre first 3 rounds from AGF. Understandable in the pistol, somewhat understandable in the second. To do the same in the buy round, you're effectively just feeding Blocker at this point. It's kind of a weird one. Either way, going into round number 4, they've invested the Deagles. As they get down, Pop Dog. Ma actually takes a lot of damage early on, but he does find himself that first kill. AGF now a man down. Trying to work their way into this one. Netric through the smoke. Does connect a shot, but can't quite convert the kill. Nicky needs to come out on top here, and he's completely shutting it down. Finds that kill. Very nice 1D from Christo, though. Levels out the numbers a little. Doesn't pick up the AK that's in front of him, though, bizarrely, but might be able to find one more onto Ma. Able to do exactly that. There's the AK needed. Tapping away. Can't quite convert the second. And Nicky... free kill onto TMB, but he can't convert it. 3-on-3 now for AGF to work with.
A couple of further kills punched in, and another convincing performance here on round 4 from Fate. They start things off with a clean sheet, and now it's, well, time to shine for AGF. Another rifle round in hand. The AWP comes through for Christo. Not the best of starts for them. A couple of, well, running gun opportunities towards the B bomb site. Gives away a couple of early ones to Fate. Now it seems to be speed once more. Over towards the A bomb site this time. They burst through absolutely instantly. Yes, there's Ivy control in place, but, well, AGF are totally out in the open, and Nikki, just too many angles to watch. He gets burst from the back. And Fate, how are they going to be able to take their 5th right now? Yes, there's Han trying to put a little bit of pressure from the side, but with an AWP in hand, Patrick has to be the point man, and, well, with that initial shot missing, you would have thought that he could convert. Apparently not.
It's looking like it is going to be the early save call for Fate. They are looking for these exits, though. They know that they've done a lot of damage. Netric, Christo, and TMB all sitting below 50. This bomb's beeping away. They've only got 1 kit. Okay, they are going to fall right back. Patrick, eager to find someone, though. AGF actually played this really smart. All exit out of team main. They know they've got the control over towards this portion of the map. They can fall right back, save all 4 players.
Wow.
No one going down. In fact, well,
Apart from
goodness,
Christo.
Christo's died to the bomb. At this caliber, you should really
yeah.
know, shouldn't you? Where the bombs,
absolutely.
where you're safe.
Especially on 6 HP. Early in these very CT-sided maps especially, you see that economy seesaw where Fate, they don't need to give away those rifles, and they absolutely don't. And a 3 versus 4 on one of the most notoriously hard sites to retake, that A bomb site, it's very similar to the B bomb site on Dust 2, where there are lots of nooks and crannies, really easy to hold, even in a player deficit. When you've got that advantage, you can more than often carry it through and easily take the round over the top, and CT rifles thrown into those engagements are often just thrown away. As I said, nuke and train, you're really just looking to balance your economy, keep as many buy rounds in hand, and keep that money afloat so you can go for back-to-back investments. Right now, despite Fate losing that 5th, they've got enough money to buy, obviously, into this 6th, but also the 7th as well. Only Nikki with $1,400 being the poorest player on this Fate side. But that gives them a big advantage carried into this one. And on a CT map especially, it means AGF are going to massively struggle. They've got to come in with a really decent performance. They have to hit all of the headshots, just outright win these rounds. Otherwise, they're not going to get any shots at freebies, no ecos from here on out. Let's see if Fate can carry on nailing the headshots, especially as Blocker shuts down another. But a 3 versus 3, bomb planted all the way out in the open, and this is going to be yet another tricky retake for Fate.
Slev watching the back, but Ma has an idea. There's a player here, should be able to put the numbers in his favour. Frostlev's got the drop on Han, though. Right up behind him. Only 1 bullet needed. As Lucky finds Patrick as well. Leaves Ma all alone. A 2 versus 1. He's made the steps in connector and he should just get shut down here. His position is, of course, now known. Frostlev spotted him out. Fires the shot. So Ma's going to fall right back. He's got no kit. He hasn't really got the time either. He's going to retrieve himself an AK and fall away from this one. He will be allowed to save it. AGF put their 2nd round on the board. Rack up some money as well. They're not in the clear yet, though. Fate, steal the money in the bank to buy into this one. Ma will be able to drop Nikki, and they'll, in fact, have a full buy going into round number 7. AGF will have to win this one to break it and be given a freebie.
And this is where Fate have played such a smart game by keeping so many rifles alive. This is basically a bonus buy. If they had invested into those retakes earlier and even giving away that previous AK in the 6th round, this wouldn't have been a buy whatsoever. It would have been far from ideal. Now they have another opportunity. Not saying that AGF can't force the eco in the next. You just have to see. Smoke's down and a stalemate to start.
Key slowly but surely gaining a lot of control over towards team main. TMB trying to regain it though with that Molotov. He's aware that there could be someone close. There's Patrick. The flash comes in. It's absolutely perfect, but maybe gets a little bit greedy trying to swap out for that AK before he's cleared the rest of Ivy. Christo able to capitalize on it. Brings things back into a 4-on-4. looking for this second pick as well as Lucky popping down Pop Dog. They've got quite a good pincer on this A site. They need to take care of these remaining players, though. Mars got a good angle. And if they don't choose to aggress around here, a good flank potential. The smoke goes up, though, and they will be able to push through Ivy. If Smar goes through this smoke, he will be able to find a free kill. But he is wary of it, and Christo's holding for it. The shot fires off, though. He does push through. Can't quite convert both of them. TMB gets the trade. And a 3-on-3 now, but look at the clock. There's only 20 seconds. They need to hurry this one up, and they've really got no time. Nicky's the one to deny the bomb plant, and Fate should be able to take this one with ease.
That C4 is dropped in the most impossible spot. And as Blocker finished this one off, 5-2 being that result. That's just the bonus for Fate. The cherry on top. Saving all of those rifles earlier on in the half. And they get that extra buy round and they keep their CT side afloat. It's just so hard for AGF to force an eco when Fate save instead of going for these disfavorable retakes. Instead deciding, hey, right, we're more than comfortable in the 5 versus 5s. Let's just play some standard CS and try and win it as we have been on the practice servers. Right now, AGF actually applying quite a bit of pressure from all angles. They still have to deal with Han as the final point man on this A bomb site. And as the AWP rattles through, he even spots that CT member. It's TMB applying that rear pressure. C4 down, and well, a couple of kills found. And Fate just absolutely annihilate the T side once more. 6-2. No C4 dropped means AGF, they can't afford a buy here in round number 9.
That was a weird one from AGF. They had the info of where Han was. They had a minute 10 on the clock, and instead they charged right in for that bomb plant, and it does cost them. Now as we go into round number 9, trailing by 4, they've invested what they can into this one. 3 Tech 9s, a Deagle and a P250 to get the work done. These pistols have been formidable for this side in the past. But can they do it now? The flash comes in. Patrick eliminated by Lucky, but the trades come in as Nicky finds 2. Mar with 1, and actually a second. A clinical shot onto TMB. Completely shuts down that A push. Denied at the door. AGF not allowed anything more than 1 frag there. No bomb plant. Now they buy into this one as we go into round number 10, but as they're 5 rounds behind, they're giving Fate far too much leg room. And if they can take some more rounds in this half, AGF will have a near impossible job to pull this back in the second.
Love this initial information from Blocker, even stealing away a frag, and that nade's going to be massive. Lucky gets exploded out of the server, and Christo finally does trade. And as the C4 goes down in a way, Fate are being locked out. This AWP finally does apply some longer pressure. I love that spray on through just to control these certain angles. But with AGF being so advanced, I think Fate are just locked out of this bomb site right now. A secondary shot found. AWP finally starting to flex, but they've got so much more work to do. They're going to go in for this retake right here. Nicky, another shot. They've got to bait Christo all the way out into the open. They miss all of the shots. He finally finds one. Knife is out, and he stabs away Nicky. 7-3, a must-win round from AGF, and they're able to take it over the top.
I mean, Fate, I'm completely speechless right now. They had a huge opportunity to take down Christo as he was jumping down from heaven. Yeah, there's nothing he can do whilst he's in midair except try and land a crazy lucky shot. But instead, they allow him to land. He readjusts, hits a fantastic AWP shot, and then gets that knife in just in the nick of time, keeping AGF afloat. And now, not wasting any time whatsoever, they walk straight into this B bomb site. Flood it with the numbers, take 2 early picks, and that forces Fate onto a very, very early save call. They know they've got no chance coming into this one. Patrick is going to try and retrieve the AWP, and he is actually allowed to do so, surprisingly. They now hunt for him. He actually misses a very important shot. But this will be the round nonetheless for AGF.
Hot Dog is the ultimate danger zone here on Train. And you can see that none of these AK-47s want to get too aggressive. And down into ladder. Just holding it instead. Nicky, he'll save the CZ-75, but won't eat up the easy AK-47 against anybody dropping. 7-4. Finally, economic pressure dealt. That was obviously a force buy for Fate. AGF responding with some speed. I like that they're not giving up on those early B-site takes either. Despite Blocker maybe even being the best and highest achieving player in this whole server, they're not nervous about charging and pouring into him over towards that side of the map. Right here, another force buy round for Fate. They're just trying to scrap to gain the control and gain the lead. It is a bit of a risk. Remember, if they lose this one, it's likely going to be AGF, not just up to 5, but up to 6. Surely Fate would have to go for the full save instead of the next. And well, the Danes are just holding these angles, waiting for Fate to make the mistakes. And once again, finding that man advantage. I love this stack from Fate, though.
It could work out well for them, but Frostlev taking that first point of contact onto Patrick. Patrick actually comes out on top. The flash is perfect as well, but it seems to blind all of them. They have to go in for seconds, and it's Christo that prevails. He's getting spammed away now. TMB has to support him. He does so perfectly. It leaves it all down to Harm with this AWP. He certainly can't be counted out as he finds the first, but Netric in the backline deals so much damage, but Han still comes out on top. A 1 versus 1 now. The battle of the Titans, AWP versus AWP. Christo retrieves the bomb. 26 HP on Han, 36 on Christo. 1 bullet needed with this AWP on either. And Christo opts for the Glock. So up close and personal. Who spots who first? They're literally walking into each other, and it's Christo to come out on top. Such an important round for AGF to win. And it came right down to the wire, and an actually ridiculous situation.
I can't believe that Han even has a chance to win that one. Just shows how good he really is. And after a dominant map from AGF on Inferno, an absolute busting map from Fate on Overpass, we finally get to see this triple header, this deciding map really coming down to the wire, at least in the first half. And Fate finally into a tricky scenario. They don't have any money to work with here in round number 13. That force buy, the gamble doesn't pay off and pan out. That 1v1 being not just the most impactful of this series, but maybe the most impactful round so far of the tournament. If Han hits just that headshot, takes maybe even 1 bullet through the smoke, perhaps this map looks very different. There's a big difference between a 7-5 with Fate ecoing and an 8-4 with AGF going for the eco. That's really a game of inches and really panning out in AGF's favor, getting, well, the maximum benefit off the back of that. This flash might be just perfect here. Netric's looking into this wall. He is actually playing the anti-flash position, and well, oh, he's going to mow them all down. 2 quick kills. The AWP able to swipe away another one, and heavy damage. Yes, it's been done. And with Christo gone, Nicky, surely he can just hold this bomb here. The C4's in no man's land. Blockers at the opposite end of the map. And how do AGF get back in?
It's going to be a difficult one. They have to block off Blocker here, though. If they can get him as he crosses, this becomes doable. If he gets across here... Oh, no. Timing just about works out for him. Lucky does spot him out, though. The flash comes through. Blocker can't quite convert it. Lucky. Speedy reactions to turn that pop flash, and Nicky last alive. Half HP with this AWP. Still in a fairly favourable position with this bomb down. Plenty of time for AGF to work with, though. And a decent amount of utility. They could throw a flash. They could throw a Molotov here. That's the Molotov coming through. Options, Nicky's. He does find himself the first kill, though. Brings things back into a one-on-one. But by doing so, he's falling off of it. Gives up the bomb control. Lucky's able to retrieve it, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, he has to go for this cross. And he does do it. Nicky now looking the wrong way. He might get punished here.
He's going to try and tap the digits in at the back of this A bomb site, but with Nikki creeping closer, Deagle in hand and cannot connect. It's AGF again, a team with such fundamentals. You see that they put themselves in a disastrous position right there. The C4 down, Nikki holding it with the AWP, and well, also the MP9 just to hold up the rear. And somehow the Danes are able to slide back in and just zigzag their way, negotiate their way into a perfect position to take number 6. Awkward scenario there, and Fate, they've had so many opportunities, and now they just have to close this out 9-6. That's the only acceptable scoreline for them. 8-7 would just be far too close.
Well, AGF right now got the opportunity to level things up 7-7, and if they can take the round, they force Fate into a difficult economic situation, might even be able to push it over to the 8th. Right now, AGF, the bomb in hand as they head over towards the B bomb site. Blocker finds himself the first, though, gives him a 2-man advantage, but Christo and Netric find 2 of their own. Lucky creeping up from heaven. Not taking an engagement as of yet, but spots out ahead and should be able to convert the kill. Sees another. So much info being gained, but as Patrick finds the frag, Han hungry for the second. Can't quite convert it. Lucky he's too quick with this AK. Knows exactly where Patrick is as well and can wrap around this oil train. Should be able to come out on top, but in the meantime, Christo falls. Lucky expecting him to be up top. Repositions. Finds himself the headshot. And again, we're in another 1-versus-1 situation. We've seen so many this map. And what more could you ask for in a grand final?
A trio of back-to-back-to-back 1-versus-1s. And here, Lucky wants to close it out for AGF for the 3rd time in a row. That clock is ticking away, and he cannot connect here against Nikki. 8-6. Fate finally win one of these tight-knit situations, and they're able to extend this incredibly narrow lead against a Danish side who have been applying all of the pressure.
Of course, you have to give AGF credit for these rounds that they've won, but that is really what it's come down to. AGF just coming out on top in these 1-versus-1 situations that really could have gone either way, and it really just comes down to timing and factors like that. And if they hadn't have gone their way, Fate could be in a much better scoreline right now. But instead, right now, we're seeing the same thing again. 4-versus-4. Patrick dealing a lot of damage through the smoke. Pulls out the USP. Does get taken down by TMB. He retrieves himself an M4. Brings this into a 3-on-3. But as Han finds one, that drops the bomb. A man advantage now for them to work with. Sightline on the C4. Marsh should have spotted out the legs there, but I don't think he acknowledged it. So TMB safe for now. Might be able to retrieve this bomb as well. Mar, though, does find himself the kill. In fact, it's not Mar, it's Blocker to find it. Netric last alive in a 1-versus-3 to try and level this one up. Have an 8-7 half. It's not too bad, all things considered, though, for them to take 6. But when you are sitting 7-6, I think you hope for a little bit more than that.
The half comes to a close. That aforementioned scoreline, 9-6, a narrow lead from Fate. I think with such a successful start, they were actually 7-2 up, as you mentioned. I think they were expecting more than 9 as well. Maybe double digits, maybe 11-4. They still have lots of opportunities here, starting with the pistol. This is going to be incredibly important. Whoever wins this pistol in follow-up, I think is going to be substantially ahead. If it's AGF, they pretty much already close away the scoreline. If Fate can take it, we might see an 11-6, 12-6 scoreline perhaps. This pistol round, I think Fate need to be throwing in some of their prime chief tactics here for this one. An initial swing, and well, the P250 might be able to make mincemeat of that USPS as it gets aggressive. CTMP, taking an aggressive angle, and it's Blocker instead. He's so pinpoint precise, and once again, it's all the headshots for him.
They come into this B site. Frostlev needs to connect his shots. Can't quite convert the first. And actually, they aggress further up. The bomb pushing into back site. It's now out in the open. 4 versus 4. Lucky still on the bomb site. Tapping away. Can't quite convert a kill, but he's still alive. Being assertive with presence. And there we go. There's the first. Buys the time for his teammates. Connects another beautiful headshot. And as he's still alive, Christo can find the last. And AGF take the pistol round. I'm not really sure what Fate had planned there, but it didn't work out for them at all. Very, very nice pistol round, keeping several players alive as well. And for now, it's not even looking like Fate are going to invest into this second round. Ooh. Oh, no, okay, I spoke too soon. They always seem to buy in the last, second. It's very hard to read.
That's the ultimate caster's curse. I always wait until they're 1 second out of spawn, and then you just expect them to rush back and buy after the time. This is where things start to get scary for Fate, all things considered. 9-7 looks like a good scoreline. But considering the AGF, they're on their CT side here of Train. They've got plenty of money. The momentum is firmly on their side after a lot of, 1v1s successfully panning out in their favor. I think that the Danes do hold the advantage coming into this second half. And if Fate can't find some rounds soon, it's going to turn from scary to a complete horror movie. Here in the final map of this tournament, a clean anti-eco for AGF. They survive with 4 alive. They're even able to upgrade those pistols. And now, we'll see Fate go for the full eco. The scoreline will more than likely be 9-9 here. And this is where AGF can start to build their lead. All pressure on Fate as we go into the opening rifle round. This is just a throwaway, though. Expect them to do something quick, snappy, do something fast, get this one out of the way. Try and play that best case scenario of getting the C4 down. A little bit of extra cash.
So with this MP9 up close, should be able to deal with this one. And if they can do it, they put themselves 9-9, level pegging. A good grenade doesn't actually do a whole lot of damage. There we go. Christo peeks. Can't quite convert the kill. It's actually the team kill to come in, but as Lucky finds 3 on these unarmored players just with the pistols, nothing they can do. It's Han last alive. He has got a deagle, might be able to find himself 1 or 2, but he's really sandwiched him right now, especially as there's players coming in from behind him. He's just waiting for some kind of aggression, and AGF just aren't going to give it to him. He does find himself the first, though, onto Christo. Can't retrieve the weapon, just sticking with this deagle for now. But as Frostlev comes in from behind, deals a load of damage, should be able to finish him off. Come on, don't leave me hanging here, Han. Someone take him out. There we go. It's Lucky to do the work. AGF do tie things up 9-9. And, well, this tournament, we've seen it a lot, especially on Train. We've seen the round share not actually go the way that the odds say it should. So we've seen so many matches where actually the favoured side, so maybe the CT side, you see the T's come out on top with maybe a 10-5, an 11-4 half, something ridiculous like that. And then you see the same on the flip side. It seems that this caliber is just kind of weird. I think you mentioned it on one of the previous days where with these teams, it doesn't always matter which map is CT-sided or T-sided. It always apply it. That comes down to the teams and the players. As Han finds that early pick onto TMB, we really just have to see if AGF can hold on to this momentum and run away with some more rounds this half. A good Molotov from Christo. Fends off the attack for now. Gives them some more time to work with, but it's the quiet before the storm. As Fate all stacked up, looking like they do still want to regress towards this A site.
I love that AGF decide to go for this A bomb site stack with the less favourable weaponry. And the AWP starting to all get things started. Here we go. Christo, 2 quick frags. Netric stepping up as well. What are Fate doing right now? The C4 dropped all the way out in the open. Yes, Fate still have Han in play, but another 1 versus 3 for the man. And he's just been put in some of the more unenviable situations here on this T side. He's got to hit everything right now. Too many targets to find. And AGF, the first to take double digits. That's kind of catastrophic as well for Fate. After taking a couple of entries onto that A-bomb site, you'd often expect them to, well, throw in a really easy engagement. AGF, 3 sniper rifles? I don't know. Was this a mistake? I'm almost certain that they're just gonna play with the snipers here. This has to be a miss by Right. They're winning a 4-0 start, and they get out triple AWPs in the grand final. Maybe something that they've experimented with. They know that the snipers can be almost slightly overpowered on a map like Train. But as the pause comes through at the same time, I don't know what they're thinking right now.
I'm not sure. I'd say it has to be a mistake as well, but Train is really the only map where you can make it work. You put one over towards Ivy, one watching T main, one on B, and a triple off is justifiable. But
Is it?
it's bizarre. It can go horribly, horribly wrong.
It's massive risk and maybe not massive reward. Obviously, they spend $15,000 on these snipers, and that's the real problem that you have, is your money will start to trickle down quickly. And especially against the pistols as well. If you let these Tech 9s get up close and personal, you can have real issues on your hand. And already with the bomb going down, AGF put themselves into a position where they have to retake with these snipers. This is total tragedy on the A-bomb site. And maybe Fate might just be able to take this one over the top. You have to even ponder saving at this point. As the boost comes through, they do find yet another, but there are after-plant positions already in action. Here comes the smoke right onto that bomb plant. I think they need to dive onto this defuse almost instantly right now, AGF, as the pistols and AKs are starting to flex their muscles one more time, and the triple up setup's not going to work out, Jay. It really does pan horribly here, and maybe at the most catastrophic time as well. All of the AWPs get eviscerated. That must
wasn't
have been a
the
mistake.
smartest, was it? Yeah, that really wasn't the smartest investment. No surprise that a pause comes in after that. Things level up 10-10. And yeah, you're right. I really don't know what they're doing there. Of course, the sniper that was watching as the T main cross as well, unable to do anything in that situation. As a T side, it's very, very easy to just throw a flash over, maybe even throw a smoke so that you can get across. And then with those Tech 9s, they can just get right up close to the site. And those AWPs are just all deemed redundant in that scenario. They have to fall back. They have to play for the retake. But those aren't the weapons you want for the retake. You've got absolutely no chance of retaking a bomb site with 3 AWPs. As we go to round number 21, they actually opt for another double AWP setup. It's TMB and Christo to have it. That's a little bit more reasonable. Contesting this early control, Frostlev up close to T main. He's going to fall back off of it. AGF assert their dominance early on. Netric and Popdog as well. They take this early control. Fate right now. Playing this one very, very slowly. 35 seconds have been expended on the clock so far, and they've really done nothing. That Molotov does a fair amount of damage onto Blocker as well, when it really shouldn't have. He starts to peek over towards B, waiting for some kind of aggression. AGF just aren't giving it to them at all, though, and with those early aggressive stances over towards A, it gives them a little bit of info, and it means that they can actually invest 3 players to this B site. It is a bit of a gamble stack, and it might not pay off for them as Fate do drop down Popdog, might be able to find this opener.
this one up. AGF, I've no idea what went wrong here. They had such an advantage going into this second half. And the triple orbs seem to be Fate's open door back in, the catalyst to not just 10, but now 11 rounds. We'll see AGF with barely any cash to work with in round number 22. The richest player of the 5. Pre-loss bonus being, well, Frost level 1400. Now $3,350. Not really enough to get rifles through. Will they go for the force buy, though, with 2 rifles saved? I think that's the big question mark here. I really wouldn't mind another tactical pause right now. But AGF instead, no, I think they're just going to eat the eco here, allow Fate onto 12, work with only this AK and M4A4. Let's see what Frostlev Lucky can do here. I'd like to see some aggression. We need to see some headshots if AGF going to have any chance of closing this scoreline 11-11 once again.
They could have made this one work. Frostlev Lucky could have dropped rifles and they would have had a half-decent buy, but well, they're really holding out for the AWPs, and Frostlev only able to find one with that AK. That's now both of the rifles out of play. 3 pistols left on this AGF side, and as Netric, well, he's shown his head so early. Does actually get tagged up, not finished off though. So he is allowed to survive. Got a lot of info to work with, and he can fall right back off of it. But just with these pistols, I don't think AGF are really expecting anything into this round. Fate should be able to put themselves 12-10 right now. Not a bad scoreline. They just need to make sure that they can continue this momentum on their T side, continue to convert these rounds. AGF do a lot of damage, but can't finish off Nikki or Mars. So a 2-round gap now for Fate. Plenty of money in the AGF bank, though. The AWP being dropped over to Christo. He's been very good with it this game, right? I didn't really see too much of him on Inferno, especially with the AWP. But he's really shown up on Train, showing off why he is that primary AWPer for the Danish side. Everyone else brought up around him. Somewhat limited utility, but I'd say it's substantial. This is really a must-win round for them right now, though.
I actually think that the utility is a little bit of a problem here for AGF. They have literally only 1 anti-flash to work with. Fate, they've got plenty of utility, of course. If they decide to burst onto this B bomb site, a lot of the time it does come down to just the flashes on the CT side, which splits up that attack. That's not going to be a factor here in round number 23. And as the smokes start to pour through, there are no Molotovs to slow these Ts to a halt either. They have to go for this, well, double defense right here. And, well, there, the kills come through fairly easily. The nades connect quite nicely also. They have actually been taken down onto low HP, so entirely doable here from AGF. But once more, limited utility in this retake. It has to be the firepower from these rifles to carry them into this 11th.
A couple of mistakes being made for Fate does mean that they are a man down. It's Han last alive. A 2 versus 1. Christo and Netric to find. He's caught out in the open, but both players haven't got their weapons out, and he's able to convert it. Netric now, a 1 versus 1, needs to come out on top. He does exactly that, and he's just about got enough time on the bomb as well. That came down to the wire. But AGF do come out on top. He will be able to retrieve the AWP as well, bring that into the next. Not a lot of money for this AGF side to work with, despite the fact they've just converted that round. We will actually be seeing a huge lack of utility and probably a lack of M4s as well. Both of these players are going to have to go down to, well, FAMAS and a Mag 7 on Lucky. Not what you want to be working with, especially when Fate have still got money in the bank.
Rounds and retakes coming down to literally the final second. Now it's Mag 7 time. Is Lucky at least chomps together the first, but there's no double defense here on B, and Fate able to charge through, and we see another retake situation towards the curly letter. This time there is a little bit of utility to burst their way back in, but no Molotovs to force Fate out into the open. This once more is going to be incredibly difficult for AGF to negotiate their way onto, and with Blocker incredibly close, he's evening up the numbers once more. A 3 versus 3. AGF are going to close in from absolutely every angle right now in TMB with another kill. Nikki gone. Still 2 defenders left for this bomb as the spray completely comes through. There's the defuse. 12-12 AGF. I think that's 5 clutch rounds now, and that's just this map. It's been going down to the wire since the start, and 12-12. A barn burner here to close out this tournament. This one decided by a fine-tooth comb. 12-12, everything to play for. Another bye round for both teams.
Every round has been incredibly close, and this one might just be the decider. Both teams almost fully invested into this one, as Cristo, with this AWP in a difficult situation, connects the flick though, and as his teammates finding frags around him, it leaves Hahn in a 1 versus 4 situation very, very early on into this round. We hadn't even got to the minute 30 mark yet, and he's left last. Fate just trying to change up the pace, and it doesn't pay off for them whatsoever. You might be able to find this kill into the player on Showers, able to do exactly that. Never misses a shot like that. So 3 more to find, absolutely doable, plenty of time to work with, but with the bomb out in the open, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to save this AWP. I don't think they'll be able to afford one in the next. In fact, they certainly won't be able to afford one in the next. Instead, still hungry for a kill.
I'd like to see Hahn and Fate in general just slow things down on this T side right now and actually allow that AWP on Hahn to actually work his magic. He's so good at picking apart these opening frags and, well, gives away that sniper rifle. Decides to throw himself into that A bomb site in the 1 versus 3, and it doesn't pan out once again. AGF starting to lock down this CT side. That's a couple of decent rounds in a row. Initially, the retakes, just winning one outright to take the 1 round lead. A big advantage here on their CT side. It's going to be all rifles for Fate, 2 of which being those Galils. Certainly not as good as the favorable AKs. Let's see if they can keep this one competitive as we go to championship rounds on Train.
Only 5 left, including this one. Fate all stacked up outside the B site. They need to find these 2 kills and the bomb plant early on. They flash in. Take some early damage. No kills converted as of yet, but as they come in the back lines, they should be able to convert these. Frostlev only good for 1. And they completely shut down these defenses. Blocker finds another as he's getting very, very deep in the bomb site up heaven. It does get traded out, so it's a 3-on-2 now. Netric and TMB. Definitely potential to clutch this one out, especially considering Netric is behind. It all depends on whether it goes unchecked. Might be able to find Mara on the bomb site here, level things out to a 2-on-2. He does exactly that, sprays down the second as well and converts the kill. Patrick, left alone in a 2 versus 1, will be able to convert this one, but TMB lands a falling down 1D shot, and he gets the second as well. What on earth was that? AGF take round number 14. Fate Force down to what I assume will be... Okay, they do have money to buy into it. I mean, this is just ridiculous. AGF, how are they pulling this one off?
Well, the clutch counter right now is up to number 6. TMB turbocharging into B. And what was that jumping deagle shot? Connecting incredibly beautifully onto the first. And just able to convert 14-12 right now. And AGF, this one is theirs to lose. I think the only thing that can throw this one right now is stage fright, nerves, a choke perhaps. Fate have to cross their fingers before they go into this one, as TMB is nailing everything. They walk into the double AWPs once again. Cristo, TMB, they seem to be nailing all of the shots. And how do Fate fire their way back into this? Train, it's supposed to be their home map. We heard it from their very own mouths just yesterday. They're extremely confident on this one. They get it. It's the 3rd and final in the series. AGF just letting it slip through. And, well, feels like the Danes just have the magic recipe to close this one right now.
Still the man advantage for AGF. Absolutely doable situation for Fate to pull back, but they need to start converting some of these kills. TMB's got a fantastic angle. He does get smoked off. Gives Fate a little bit of leg room, but all being spammed through the smoke. Mar actually converts it, but Frostlev in the meantime finds one more. Brings it into a 3-on-2. An audacious peek from Frostlev. Costs him his life as Patrick takes him down. A 2 versus 2 now. And the two players that actually had the HP to work with, Patrick, watching the wrong side, might be able to get taken down by Netric here if he does go for the wide swing. Timing doesn't quite work out, but he still second guesses it. And Netric falls. This was AGF's round. They had the initial 2 picks. They had another as well. And now it's all on Lucky in a 2v1. He converts to first. 1 versus 1 versus Patrick. How does this come down to these 1v1 situations? Time and time again. Lucky, my friend, you're looking the wrong way. He needs to look left, and Patrick should be able to find this one the whole time. Lucky, I don't know if there's misinformation being given from his teammates or something, but he completely neglects the left side and gets punished for it. Fate take a round that rightfully wasn't theirs, and now bring it within 1. AGF, no money in the bank. They have to go for the eco. This has come so close. These teams are inseparable.
He gets caught in a head-scratching situation where he actually thinks that Patrick is still stuck behind Electric Box. He doesn't spot the cross. He just doesn't ponder that he's crossed over to this A bomb site. A final pause to create a break of pace. Overtime, now a real possibility. But AGF, off the back of that, so many close rounds, finally losing one, means they cannot buy Kieran round number 28. A pause to discuss this one. I just don't think they can force. It has to be like a double eco, I guess. Remember, the money is down to $1,400, $1,900 in the next. It means if they save, they won't have a full buy into 29. This is a nightmare.
A nightmare indeed. It's even a viable call at this point to allow your opponents to get onto 15 and play for the overtime, perhaps. At least then you'll have the rifles and the AWPs. But when you're 14-13 up, that is an incredibly difficult call to make. Right now, Fate, they've got the money in the bank to work with. They are going to pull out these rifles. A couple of MAC-10s I think we'll be seeing. There we go. Mar pulls out another. Han with the UMP. Not a huge amount for them to work with, but the investment comes through last second for AGF. TMB and Cristo just with the nades. Kevlar, well, a shotgun and an SMG on the rest. They could make this one work, but if they don't, there's no money in the next, and Fate should be able to get themselves onto 15. This is really unfortunate for AGF right now.
A stalemate. An uncoordinated buy. Complete confusion for the CT side. As Fate, have they really just closed this gap once more? It felt like this tournament was over. And now Fate really do have a decent chance at closing this one up once more. The opening's onto A. Frostlev has to do everything. And it's Fate, Fate, Fate. As they eliminate the whole of this defense. AGF completely shut away from A. And Cristo, nothing he can really do about this one. 3 players actually within 1 tap potential to the body shots of this Deagle. But it's such a tall order. And as the C4 goes down, further pressure is applied and he cannot connect onto Nikki. 14-14, we're even Stevens once again. But the big advantage is in Fate's favor. We see yet another pause. As both sides have a little time to ponder these championship rounds, 29 and 30. We'll see all of the rounds here on Train.
I can't work out if AGF had a contingency plan in place here. If they actually went for that investment on the basis that they were going to play for the overtime, and therefore that investment doesn't really matter because going into this round, they're all sitting on 2k. The loss bonus allows them to buy into the next. Or whether they actually forced into that one hoping to win it, not hoping to allow their opponents to get to 15. But I don't know at this point. Fate, they've managed to pull it back. They're now sitting 1 away from match point, and as their opponents surely have to be on a full eco here, they should be able to take it over the top. I wouldn't be surprised if we go to overtime in this game. I think AGF eco this round. They allow Fate to get to 15. Fate then obviously in the last round won't go for the bonus. They won't keep these MAC-10s or anything like that. They will buy up the rifles. But AGF will have so much money in the bank. They could go for a double AWP setup, and they could certainly level things back out, as they did have a really strong CT side. But besides these past couple of rounds, they've been really good on their CT side. They've just thrown it away in the last 3 or 4.
Should be an easy rollover round for Fate, as well, the spray down instantly converts all 5 frags. I think a massively expected 15-14 scoreline. Fate, they get first dibs at championship point.
I think AGF will be upset that they didn't have that stab at it. A round that really should have been theirs 3 ago, where they took the 2-man advantage. They had all the control in the world, and they just threw it away. That mistake might just have cost them $11,000. As now, round number 30. All to play for. They have to convert this one. But Fate, your morale, your adrenaline has got to be pumping right now. 15-14, a map apiece. And the first kill goes in the favor of Fate as they swarm onto this B-bomb site. Lucky needs to find these kills, and as he gets taken out, Nicky, he's got to be happy with himself right now. They might even already be celebrating as they take the B-bomb site and get the bomb down.
Might just have done it, applying the pressure on all angles. The crucial kill comes through, and Fate find all 5. A flawless tournament for them. Having a go at Game Agents. Isako Boars taking so many scalps, with SJ being the next, and a final map victory against AGF. They're your champions. Fate, just a great tournament all over, and belittling their final opponents here on Train. AGF hit the deck, and Fate, they're the victors of this one. They'll take home the $11,000. Just phenomenal stuff there. Well, that's our tournament. That's our show. It's all over. It's been a hell of a lot of fun here from the casting desk. And, well, I hope you had as much fun at home. And, Jay, I hope you had as much fun as well. We'll head off for now, but we'll see you next time here at UCC for more Counter-Strike action.
Voices in your head.
things that you said. Cause I wish you didn't mean it. I'm under attack, running far, far away. And I'd rather keep my distance from you. You don't gotta lie to